This is Patty Bennett with PattyStamps.com. How is everybody today? I am so excited to share these beautiful cards with you. These are made with the Petal Promenade paper, and we are going to be creating these cards today. And I also want to share a few tips for cutting this paper, as well as this paper, which is the delightfully detailed paper. So we are going to be talking about lots of tips about how to create these pretty flowers, about adhering this paper, this delightfully detailed paper. So lots of fun things today. And oh, I see I have lots of people joining me live on Facebook right now. That's so exciting. So welcome if you're just joining me. This is Patty Bennett. We're going to be talking about these beautiful cards today. And if you are watching at 2 p.m. Pacific time on Monday, July 9th, then you're live with me, and I should be able to see your comments. And if you are watching some other time on Facebook or on YouTube or on my blog, you are still welcome to leave me a comment. I will just have to get back to it later because I won't be able to see it live. But hello to everyone who's joining me. I'm very excited to have you here. This is Patty Bennett with PattyStamps.com, and we will be making these cards today. I'm going to be actually assembling these two and this one with you today, and just talking about the rest of them, and talking about this beautiful Petal Promenade paper. So this paper, you might be aware if you already follow Stampin' Up, or if you follow me on PattyStamps.com, or maybe you are a demonstrator, you probably know that this beautiful paper is part of the amazing Buy 3 Get 1 Free sale in July 2018, and that is a special from Stampin' Up. So if you are unfamiliar with that sale, you can go to my online ordering site, which is www.mystamporder.com, and then there will be a little button on the upper left side that says Buy 3 Get 1 Free Designer Series Paper Sale, and you can see all the details there for what's included. But let me show you this beautiful paper, and then I'll show you the piece that I'm going to be cutting apart for those cards. So as you know, it's all double-sided. So we have a beautiful marble pattern on the back of this one. This is just gorgeous and delightful. I'm pretty sure this is a certain kind of rose, and I know I should know the type, and goodness gracious, I don't. That's a little embarrassing, but it's beautiful. And then on the other side, you have sort of a pinkish marble. This one is just stunning. Look at all those beautiful flowers, and I did create some cards with this one, and it has just sort of almost a concrete marble-y sort of pattern on the back of that one. Here is this beautiful piece. I absolutely love this. Love these colors. And we have the little bokeh dots on the back of that one. And then there are two pieces, these two, that need a very specific way to cut them out so that you don't accidentally waste or cut into the wrong thing. So I'm going to be cutting this to show you a tip about cutting this paper, and then how to use these two beautiful pieces, and then I'll show you a couple tips that I did with this piece. Then I'm also going to cut, and I have this protected just so I didn't mess it up, I'm going to cut this piece for you from the delightfully detailed Designer Series paper pack, and it's a laser cut. It is white on one side, vanilla on the other, and there are I believe it's 4 sheets of this. Gosh, I should have looked. I think it's 4, and then 4 of the other one. Maybe it's 6 and 6. Maybe someone could look that up real quick for me. I'm sorry, I forgot that number. But I'm going to show you a tip for cutting that piece as well. So I am just going to protect it there while I move it and get out my trimmer to show you how I like to cut these papers to get the most out of them and to not waste any paper. So just hoping that you can see most of my trimmer here. So on this piece of the Petal Promenade paper, you'll notice it has this beautiful border, and I'm going to show you a couple things that I did with that border. And then there are 6 of these square little images and 3 of the rectangles. So what I like to do is first put this piece in and trim off this piece so that I can use that either as a whole. And what I have done with that, let me just grab one of these bags. The beautiful silver and white striped bags, I have wrapped this around and then decorated, so that is a really pretty use of that. And then I'm also going to show you what I did with that on the inside of some cards. But then you have these pieces, that you can cut. And sorry, I think I might have knocked the camera. I didn't mean to. And then what I like to do is just trim with a little border around the edge of these. And I'll show you when we make the card with this piece what I did with that. And the border actually doesn't even show. So just cutting those 3 pieces, pretty simple like that. And then you have this one, and you can cut this one either leaving the border, a little border, or you can cut the border off. And I'll show you 2 different ideas that I did with that one. So I think you probably kind of get the idea. You probably don't need to see me cut the whole thing, but I just wanted to show you basically that if you cut that border off first on the side, then it allows you to cut all of these pieces out and not chop through one of those by accident. Don't ask me how I know about that. Ha ha ha. Okay, so there's a tip for cutting that, and we're going to make cards with those pieces in a minute. Now with this piece, there are 2 borders. And so what you want to do is first cut right here and cut off this long border so that you don't chop that one. Then flip it and cut this border. So now you have 2. One is 12 inches long and one is about 10. And then you can cut these up. And so I just went ahead and I cut this one at about 5 inches, and then I cut those this way, like that, so that I have those rectangles to use. And then on these, I will show you at the end when I'm giving you more examples, a couple ideas of what I did with those. This one, I actually just sent to my Love to Stamp group, and I stamped "Thank you for participating in Prize Patrol," and I used this as a tag on the gifts that I was sending out for Prize Patrol for the Love to Stamp group. So that was kind of just a fun use of that. But I also did make a card that I will show you. Okay, so that's the tip on cutting the Petal Promenade paper that has the very specific designs. Now let's grab this piece of delightfully detailed paper, because we're going to be using 2 of these on our cards today, so I wanted to give you a tip on cutting this. So what I'm doing is I'm just looking at my track at the top and bottom, and I am lining up so that I can trim off this long piece. And then what I do with this one is I just pull off those 2 little end things, and then you have this gorgeous lace detailed piece that you can use on a project. Then I flip it, and I'm lining up, I'm looking at the track. Hopefully you can see that down here. I'm looking at where the track is, and I'm kind of positioning that so that I can cut these off. And these are little individual like edge decoration pieces. See, there's several here. So again, if you wanted to, you can just pull this off or you can cut it. And then you have all those individual pieces to use. So there's the diamonds. This you could actually use. That's kind of cute. It's got the negative scallop on one side and the zigzag on the other. So if, like just for instance, if you were to place it under some cardstock like that, it would give you a cute little rick-rack, zigzag, whatever you want to call that, at the bottom. So that's a negative piece, but you can actually use it. And then this one, we have all those cute little circles. And again, another negative piece that you could use. And you could cut these at the ends. It's just so easy to just kind of rip them off. I love this little scallop one. That's my favorite. And another, two more negative pieces if you wanted to use the negative side of the scallop. And then you have this sweet little one, and that's kind of my second favorite one. And they are all vanilla on the other side. I don't know, I said that at the beginning, but if you're just tuning in, you may have missed that. So this whole piece, you can use the vanilla side, you can use the white side, or you can spritz it, you can sponge it, you can sprinkle brush show on it, you can do a watercolor wash on it, so you can color this as well. And then I like to cut this one. And then I have the 6 pieces that just cut really easily into their little individual parts. And then you would just do the same thing here and cut those into 3 pieces. So then you would have 6 separate pieces that you could use. Just be careful. They do tend to want to kind of snag onto each other. You could use these as an overlay on a card, on a photo, on a scrapbook page, on a gift bag, you know, whatever you'd like. So those are the 6 pieces that you get out of that. And we're going to use these 2 on our cards today. So I hope, I see there's a lot of comments going by on the Facebook Live. I hope that tip was helpful as far as how to cut that paper and then get the most out of it. So I will grab these cards that we're going to create and show you what I did. So we're going to do one with this oval piece. So this was the oval. And then one with this piece, which is just kind of the pretty, just a floral, just a pretty floral. So we're going to do 2 cards with these. And I got this idea from a demonstrator in my downline. Her name is Gloria Plunkett. And look at this amazing idea. So here is that rectangle that we cut out of Petal Promenade. This is the oval that we just cut out of the delightfully detailed laser paper. And look what happens when you layer those together. It makes it, your eye give the illusion that that was an oval back there. And isn't this gorgeous? I mean, this is like so pretty. I absolutely love this. I think that is so amazing. So you could just use this as is and stamp your greeting and decorate your card. Let me show you those cards again. So here is one when it's finished, and we're going to make it, but I just wanted to show you the difference. So by putting the oval on it, it looks different than if you just used the flower piece, and either way is perfectly fine. And this is what I wanted to show you inside. Remember that strip that we cut off? Isn't this pretty on the inside of a card? You could do it on the flap of an envelope or on a bag. Isn't that cute? I love that. So I just wanted to show you that. And this one with this piece, so you again, you could do it without, or when you layer, look how beautiful that is. And you can do this horizontal or vertical. So love this. So let's make these, and I'll show you the tips for creating these as we go. Now this one, when I was layering this and showing you, what I noticed was that this bottom piece is hanging out a little bit. So I am going to trim that, and it's easier to trim it before you actually start to glue this together. And I am just going to take a little bit off of each end so that hopefully it doesn't, yeah, so now it doesn't hang out, okay? While the trimmer's here, let's make sure and see if this one needs to be trimmed. Yes, it does. So I'm just going to take those ends off of this piece as well. Then we're good to go, and we can start gluing. For these cards, I really found that I loved the Tombow multi-purpose liquid glue, and I don't actually use this glue that much, but for these two cards it's perfect, and we're going to use it in two different ways. And oh, somebody is just asking what this paper is. They came in late. So the paper with the flowers is all from the Petal Promenade package, and these two pieces are from the Delightfully Detailed laser cut paper. All right, so for this one, I'm going to use the white side. So I'm just going to put a little glue in the corners and just a little bit along that edge. And you don't actually even need this much, but it came out, so that's how much I'm going to use, and it'll be fine. And then we just layer these two together. And the nice thing about the liquid glue is it gives you kind of that smush time. You can kind of move it around a bit if you don't get it laid down perfectly right at first. And then we can just go ahead and use the same glue to adhere to our Flirty Flamingo piece. And again, you know, you get that little smush factor that you can kind of move it around if it's at all crooked. Okay. And then I'm going to just go ahead and do it on the back of this one and adhere that to my folded card. And this is a petal pink folded base card. So there is that part. And then whatever you'd like to do in the center, you can just stamp a greeting directly on there, or you can use an oval. This is the next to the largest stitched shape oval piece. That's what I used. So let me just show you some alternatives here. So here I used a smaller greeting from Ribbon of Courage and added 2 flowers. On this one I actually popped up that stitched shape oval and I put it in the center there and added the flowers. So you have some options as to how you would like to decorate. This one is stamped just right on the paper. This one is stamped right on the paper. And some of them I added leaves and some I didn't. So again, that's just, you know, totally optional, up to you. But let me show you a tip for these flowers. And these are all stamped with the beautiful Promenade stamp set. Now, you can use this stamp in several ways. I've got the lines and the outline together in 2 different colors, and then die cut with this matching framelit. Okay, but you can just stamp the outline, or you can just stamp that. So lots of ways that you can stamp it, but I did them all that way, where they have both of the images together. And then this is a tip that I learned from my friend Cindy. So here's how she made her flowers, and I loved this. So you take your bone folder and you curl all the way around so that it's kind of cupping like this. And you take a second one, you do the same thing. Okay, do that a little bit more right there. Just be careful not to rip your flower because it can happen. And then this is what she did, and I liked this idea, so I copied it. She just took off just that bottom petal. Okay, so just this bottom part we won't use. And then you just layer those together and put them on your card. Let me just lift this one up and this one and this one just so you can see that. And they're very pretty. I really like them. And by giving that little curl, even when you mail this and the recipient gets it out in the mail, it's going to still look sort of 3D. It's going to be a little bit dimensional. So you can either, speaking of dimension, you can either put dimensionals behind it, between the two layers, or you can just use adhesive to adhere them together. That's, again, totally optional. So this one, I put an extra flower in there. This one, I added leaves. This has two of the same color. This has two contrasting colors. So lots of ways to do that. Thank you. I'm so glad. Thank you to everybody who's commenting and saying that you like that. So that's one idea then for this card. Set that up there. And then let's work on this one because this one is going to be glued in a different way. So let's try this one vertical because you can switch it and go vertical or horizontal. And look, I was just thinking, even that's just beautiful. You wouldn't even have to put this piece behind there, but I love it with that piece behind there. It just looks like a trellis in a garden to me. I think it's beautiful. So when you have this really detailed design, this is the easiest thing that I have found for gluing or adhering. You can either use your silicone mat, or if you just have, I like to recycle the plastic packaging that Stampin' Up sends things in. I don't like to just throw those away. So I just keep those in a box and I reuse them. Then I have a sponge that I just keep in this little Ziploc. And this sponge I use with glue. So the multi-purpose glue has two ends, and this fatter end allows you to blob out. Is that a technical term? Blob out? Blob out some glue. Then I'm going to set this upside down on my plastic. Take my sponge and get the glue on there. Now I want to hold this still because I don't want this piece to move around. If it moves around, it will get glue on the front side, and you don't want that. So I'm just adhering some glue to the back side, and you can see this is kind of flimsy. This is really not flimsy, it's delicate. It's very delicate to work with. Okay, and so then you just lay that down. I wonder if I can scoot this just a little. I just need it to scoot. Just, there we go. It's scooted. It's scooted. And I don't need to adhere the center because I'm going to put another piece on there. So I stamped on the stitched shape framelit, and then when I put the adhesive on the back of that, it just sandwiched that together. So I didn't need glue right there. And then you can use whatever adhesive. You can just use your snail, or you can use your liquid glue to adhere. And if you don't have to mat it, but I like that. I like the extra little pop of color. And then we'll put that onto our petal pink card. Like that. And then same idea with those flowers that you just use your bone folder and you give them a little bit of curl, and then you can just adhere that down there. And let's look at a couple of the other ones that I did. So here's one that's horizontal. You can do it horizontal. Another vertical one with a different greeting from the Ribbon of Courage set. So actually these 3 are all from Ribbon of Courage, and that's the stamp set I got to design when I finished selling $1 million with Stampin' Up. And then this one I thought would be really pretty for a wedding or an anniversary card because it says, "Wishes for a lifetime of love and happiness." And I think that is just really pretty and sweet. I think that is a beautiful sentiment. And I think, oh, it's not in that set. Oh, what set is this in? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I don't know. I pulled out the stamp and now I don't know. Okay, I'll have to get back to you on that. But I think that that is really pretty. So those are the ideas I had for you, where you are combining the laser, delightfully detailed laser paper with the Petal Promenade paper. And again, thanks to Gloria Plunkett for that completely amazing idea with that paper, combining that paper, I should say. I just think that's so amazing, so beautiful. So now let me show you the other ideas that I had out at the beginning, and we'll make one more card together. So on these 2, I just took the Stampin' Up! Thick Whisper White Note card and I covered the entire front with different patterns of the paper from Petal Promenade. And then I used those squares that we cut out. Where did I put those? Here they go. So you had those 6 squares. And I used a rainbow pad that I had inked, and I stamped because the colors went perfectly. How fun is that? And then these flowers I stamped and punched from Pop of Petals. And that is this set with a matching punch. And again, all of these supplies, if you need a demonstrator, these are available in my online store. You can go to mystamporder.com and you can find all of these supplies, or you can look at my blog at pattystamps.com. So that was that one. And then I was over at my friend Cindy's house on last Tuesday, and, oh, hang on, where is her card? Here it is. Had it over here. And she had this paper, which is the same paper, okay, so it's one of these squares, but when you put a circle on it, you don't even know that there was an opening. Isn't that amazing? So I made this card at her house. I really love it. And we did that same flower, but we did not do that inside striped piece. So you can see what a difference. And then even though we die cut these and it makes that little white border, we sponged the edge with the fresh fig ink, and then you don't see the white border. So this is a totally different look, isn't it? I think it's so pretty. And we sponged a little bit inside, and then we did that trick, cutting off the bottom one and layering the 2 together and putting those die cut leaves behind there. So then I had another idea, and I created a card similar to that. So let me show you the parts to this one. Let's clean these up. They're pretty, but there's too much going on. Too much going on. Wait, there's no such thing as too much pretty flowers. Is there too many? There's no such thing. So here is an alternate that I came up with. So here's the one I made at Cindy's, and then I came up with this as an alternate because I decided I wanted to stamp a greeting. And this one is from the Enjoy Life stamp set. And this is inspired by another $1 million achiever. So this one, I decided same size stitched circle, but I just stamped on it and added the flower. And you can either layer the flower or not. And then this, I want to just show you the difference. This one, I did not cut, or excuse me, I did cut the border off around that square. On this one, I left a little bit of the border. So there you can see the difference, and it does give a different look. You may not even notice it if I didn't point it out, but once you see it, you say, oh, okay, that is kind of different. So that just gives you an alternate. If you don't want to take the time to try to get an even border, you can just completely cut the border off and then you get that look. So this is just a 8.5 by 4.25 thick Whisper White card base, scored in half. And then it's a 4x4 piece of fresh fig cardstock. This is the next to the largest stitched shape circle. And you can either add dimensionals or you can just put it straight down. But look at the difference. Isn't that crazy? So that's kind of fun, right? So you can either, whoops, where did that card go that I showed? Oh, well, it's different though. So you can either stamp in the middle or you could stamp on a circle or you could have a blank circle. So I'm just showing you lots and lots of options here. That was my goal. And then you would take your flowers and you can put those on and layer them together and do a really dimensional look like this, or you could just have one flower and have it be like that. And then on here, do you see these little speckles? Do you know that trick about making speckles with a marker? Let me grab the marker. So I think we did fresh fig. And I'll do it on this one. So if you take your marker, take off the cap, and then I'm just putting the tip in there just a little bit, and I'm going to press down and I'm going to flick. And do you see those cute little speckles? Only need to do it a couple times. Look at those fun speckles that you get. I think that's super cool. And we did the same thing with our Wink of Stella. So if you just take this and you do the same thing and you just flick it like this, you get little sparkles all over, and you don't have to actually like color with your Wink of Stella. So in person, this now has beautiful sparkles all over it. And we did the new rose thread behind that. I just ordered it. I didn't have it. And then of course, after I saw Cindy use it, I had to have it. So I just ordered that. So that's that card. That's another idea. And then the last set of ideas I wanted to show you uses a different paper, and I don't think we used this one yet, so I wanted to show you these. So this was another frame. It's one of these. Let's see. Hang on. It's buried. It's buried. Okay, well, it's buried. But there are 3 different frames. This one, and this one. And what I did was I just very loosely trimmed around it, and I layered it onto one of the note cards that was covered with that darker piece of the Petal Promenade paper. So I thought that was kind of different, kind of fun, just stamped on there and added a couple of the faceted dots, I think are called these. So the colors went kind of nice with that. So I added a couple of those. Then look at this. Cindy made this for me. This is a tag using this same paper. And this is a different die set. It doesn't come with the Petal Promenade one. But I thought this was so gorgeous. I'll have this and other samples on my blog coming up in a few weeks. But I thought that was super pretty. And then these round wreaths that are also on that same sheet. I was wondering how it would look if I die cut it either with the circle or the scalloped circle in the layering circle die, and so that's what you get. And I added just a couple of the tropical chic flowers to that. Obviously I haven't made it into a card yet, but you know, that's coming. It'll be something someday. Or you can, those were the plain ones, but the ones with the flowers, I think I would just add this to a card. But there are 2 that are completely plain, and I thought, oh, well, that needed something. So that's why it was different than these, and I added the flowers to that. Wow, we did it. We got through all of that in half an hour. That's crazy. Wow. Okay. So what do you think? Do you think that was a few ideas to get your creativity going with the Petal Promenade paper. I think that was a lot of good ideas. I love this paper. And don't forget, if you are watching this in July, you need to like dash over to the online store and buy some of this paper because it's on the buy 3 get 1 free. And you don't have to buy 4 packages of this, but I'll give you a little secret. I did. I bought 4. I bought 3 so I could get 1 free. I think it's so pretty. I just absolutely love this. I just am crazy about this paper. But you know me and flowers. It's all about flowers and color and pretty and lovely and soft and sweet. And so there you go. Those are all of those beautiful fun cards that I was making. I hope you enjoyed those. So I am just going to check here on the live feed, see if there were any questions. If you have a question, type it in now because I'm going to hang out for just a moment to answer questions. And if not, I will let you go and wish you a lovely day. Thank you for joining me. Check out all of my cards and projects at pattystamps.com. I do believe this one is on my blog today. So you are welcome. I'm so glad you all enjoyed it. Thank you for the beautiful feedback and the hearts and the kind comments. And I will see you all soon. Thank you again for joining me. Bye-bye.